Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Mr. Johnny Nelson here at the press conference ahead of Isaac Chamberlain versus Mikael Lawal. Now, we were hoping we'd be talking about Joshua Buatsi and Dan Azeez, but not to be today. How's the last couple of days been for yourself and boxing?
No, for us, you know, it's like everybody else. It's a disappointment because it was something that we were all looking forward to, not just the TV crew, the fans as well. And the thing is, I've got to commend Sky. I've got to commend Boxer, because remember, there's other fighters on the bill, and they've trained and prepared for this day themselves, and the show goes on. I remember when I used to box, and when fights got cancelled, you thought, oh God, you know what? It's another payday gone, and I've trained all the way through to this. For them to turn it around and still put the show on, still get bums on seats. And I'm hearing so many stupid rumours about lack of ticket sales and stuff. Honestly, that's complete rubbish. I'm hearing so many conspiracy theories about, it's not the case. Dan Azeez is a straight-up fighter. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy. And he's probably as gutted as the rest of the people around the place. It is what it is. And so these conspiracy theories about why it hasn't happened and people picking out saying, well, I said this was going to happen. It's complete and utter rubbish. I'm gutted for the boys, absolutely gutted for them. But I've got to commend Boxer and Sky for actually still getting on with the show and, picking up the piece and saying, right, we're still putting something on.
How will Dan Azeez and maybe even more so Joshua Buatsi be feeling at the moment? Because it's a tough one to take, I'm sure.
This is the downside of the professional boxing game, because you train up to a peak, you train up to a stage where your body's it's optimum. You're in a stage where I'm ready to fight, and it's hard to taper down when you've done everything right and prepped everything right, and then you've got to go again, start all over again. So I'm not sure when it's been postponed to, but either way, these fighters have got to taper down again, and it's taking yourself away from your friends and family. Training camp takes a lot out of your body. It takes years off you, and it ages you as a fighter, because all the sparring, all the preparation, all the financial costs, everything. So it's very, very hard. So for these guys, will be absolutely gutted. I've been there. It's horrible. It's not nice, and so it's easy for people to say, oh well, one of those things. This is their life. This is what they're prepared for. So it's just, I do feel for them. Absolutely feel for them.
One thing that has come out in the last couple of days is, I'm sure you've seen it, Eddie Hearn in an interview saying that he'd heard that this may be called off around 3 weeks or so ago. Can you add anything to that? And do you believe what he's saying?
Lucky shot, and that lucky shot, he's saying one of those things like, I'm not sure. It's not as though he's Nostradamus. It was a lucky shot, and I'm quite sure if you look back on records, he's probably said it about other shows that have gone on. It was a lucky shot. That's all it is. But in reality, if you know the facts, you know the score. That's just it's just one of those things. And I actually think, because the question is this: why is it happened this week? Who trained so hard to damage themselves the week before a fight? 3 or 4 weeks ago, we did a public workout in Croydon. In the public workout, and the fighters were there, I said, between now and the fight is the toughest time for every fighter. They don't want to do this, because now your body's tired. Now your body's in a position where it can be injured, because you're pushing it to the max. So if you're going to get injured, it's between now and fight time. Now for Dan, just because it was announced this week doesn't mean he didn't know about it last week. He was probably thinking, you know what, I'll just see how I am next week. I'll see how I am next week before I say anything. It got to the stage where he said, look, I can't do it. So we find out this week. And so the accident probably didn't happen this week. It might have happened last week. And he's thinking, I'll wait. Hopefully they'll be better. Prepared to go in there less than 100%. So, and he just put fact to it. Don't put fiction to it. Put fact to it and think, right, this is how these things manifest. You just got to wait and see.
What we do have on at York Hall on Saturday night, Mikael Lawal and Isaac Chamberlain. Terrific fight, as you say, and has big implications, not just here in the UK in the cruiserweight division, but probably in the world as well in months to come.
You know what? Boxer have now done a deal with NBC as well, so our fighters here in the UK get seen in the States as well, which is a great shout. Great group, and it's a great opportunity for fighters coming through to be spotted, not just here in the UK or around Europe. So for these two guys here, I actually thought, even before the withdrawal of the headline, I actually thought this is going to be a banger. You're hearing so many things about what's happening in training camp, how sparring is going. I've heard so many things over the last couple of weeks, and one has a psychological edge, we think, over the other. Lawal has chosen not to pretend things like this until he has to. He has to today. And it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't turn up today. But these guys are happy to step up to the plate and be the headliners of this. And what a great opportunity that is. You know, you thought you were going to be a backing dancer, now you're front of house. So I think it's going to be a wicked fight. I think it's 4 or 5 live fights Saturday night, 4 fights Saturday night. And so again, I think for everybody taking part, you've got to commend them, you've got to respect them, and hard hats on, take the heat, and just get on with it.
You talk about Sky's link up there with NBC, especially at a time where Showtime are dipping out of boxing. It shows Sky's commitment to boxing. You've been there pretty much all the way through. I mean, what can you say about that?
It was a good secret kept. I had a friend at NBC, and a few months ago, my friend got in touch and asked me, just was asking me some odd questions about the setup, and I thought, why were you asking me that? And then all of a sudden this has come out, and I thought, now I get it. And I think, again, it's an opportunity, if you're a fighter, to get spotted. It's an opportunity if you're a fighter, for somebody stateside to think, I want that guy there. Because the English fans are the best, the British fans are the best. You know, when you've got a raucous crowd there, you're supporting, you're cheering, booing, whatever, you know, the Americans love that. They loved you, Ricky Hatton's going over to Vegas. They love you, Tyson Fury's going over to Vegas, because the American fans aren't like that. So now the Americans are going to see, when we put a show on, when it's a good show, when it's a rivalry, you know, they want that over there. So when they see that, they think, we want to replicate that here. So again, I think the link up couldn't have worked out any better.
I want to get your predictions and reflections on what we've got coming up in the boxing schedule. Next weekend being Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. How do you view that fight, especially as the spotlight that crossover boxing has got in recent weeks and months?
I think, you know, Ngannou's got a puncher's chance, that's all. But he's still got a puncher's chance. If he had no chance, then, you know, that's how it is. He's got a puncher's chance. I know they're trying to create some kind of drama with Mike Tyson advising or giving Ngannou some advice and stuff like that. It is what it is. You know, you'll get so many people trying to stir the pot and get involved. But when it's down to business, it's down to business. I expect Tyson Fury to know far too much from Ngannou as a boxer. To be able to negate whatever he brings to the table. I expect Tyson Fury to get in there and get the job done. But in saying that, he's created conversation, he's created excitement. And Ngannou, the people that are fans of Ngannou, if they can't see how he'd lose, I can remember the same thing happened with Conor McGregor when he boxed Mayweather. So again, you know, it's an opportunity to open people's eyes. It's an opportunity to just out of curiosity. Boxing snobbery exists, so old folks like myself and others, they think it's another gimmick fight. But you've just got to remember, you've got a puncher's chance. Ngannou's got a puncher's chance. He's a big banger. He's no fool. So I'll be interested to see.
How much is what we're seeing in the crossover world and the influencer world as well affecting what we're seeing and sort of the output, I guess, from traditional boxing?
So I'm assuming you're alluding to KSI and Fury. And the thing is, you're forgetting there were a couple of professional fights on the undercard. Who knows who they are? Who's paying attention to it? You're talking about KSI Fury. So therefore, these boys are doing a job where they're getting people to talk about their fight. So like it or not, you know, these YouTubers that are getting into it, regardless of if you think they're good enough or they deserve that kind of headline or the kind of person they're getting, they're doing the right thing in regards to publicising who they are. KSI, you know, he's at the two of them. The more traditional fighter is Tommy Fury. KSI is the one that came out with the lion's share because he could put bums on seats. And again, I'll say this is where fighters, traditional fighters, need to learn and pick up the gauntlet and build up their stock, build up their brand, build up who they are. So they have that kind of backing. That your KSI, that your Logan Paul, that your Jake Pauls are getting, because they're showing you, you know, a business model around something that could blow up if you get it right. If you're an active fighter.
What does this mean for Tommy Fury? He's got 2 fairly unconvincing wins over Jake Paul and now KSI at the weekend. Is he still someone that can cause any damage in professional boxing, in your opinion?
So there's 2 ways you can look at it. You can look at it on the raw side and say he's making money. He's getting paid for fighting these guys. You can look at it on the authentic side and think Tommy Fury as a fighter, where does he really stand? amongst other domestic cruiserweights in the UK. Where does he really stand? Is he a central area? Is he English title fighter? Is he even British title level? He's not proved that yet, and he probably never gets to a stage when he has to prove it, because he's made enough money to say, you know what, I'm going to move on and do something else. And so it's a case of where he stands. If it's about the money, he's a prize fighter, good on him, he's doing his stuff. But as a professional fighter, how he stands amongst the domestic fighters in the UK, I think he'd struggle to get beyond British level. That's been real. It might sound a little harsh. He struggled to get beyond British level. But he's doing what he's doing. He's making as much dough as he possibly can.
Would you have ever made that decision if that was something back in the day that was on offer? Because there are huge amounts of money on offer.
Yeah, there is, but Brendan wouldn't have let me. And Brendan was the boss. So, and Brendan's old school. He'd have told us to get on with the job, make as much as you can, get the job done. And if he said yeah, I'd have done it, but that would have been his decision. So he's not here, so we can't ask him.
Did you watch the main event on Saturday night? And if so, what did you make of what we saw?
I think, believe it or not, I know KSI got mocked and he got because of his antics, but he was smart. You know what? I'm not a boxer. You know, I'm a guy stepping into your world, and I've got to do something different. Because if I fight how you fight, you're going to beat me every day of the week, because this is what you do. So he's trying to create something different. He just couldn't execute the confusion he created when he was doing his star jumps, doing whatever he's doing. He couldn't execute it well. Whereas Tommy was trying to keep it traditional, keep it tight, try and box him down. And so that's why he was struggling, because he was dealing with something that he couldn't prepare for. And so I think it's a lost opportunity for KSI. I think it's who looked worse at the tour, probably Tommy, because of all the things that I said and done before. Tommy was a bigger fighter. Tommy was the better fighter, but unfortunately didn't get the result he wanted.
I think KSI won.
I think it was close. I'd have happily gone with a draw, but that's just how it rolls.
We talked a little bit about Tyson Fury. Obviously, following the Ngannou fight, he's got a big challenge up against Alexander Usyk. Now, we've not seen a date yet for that one. Do you believe 100% that happens?
No, I'm not going to. Again, I ain't hating on Tyson Fury. Trust me, I'm not. I think he's the best heavyweight out there. But one thing I've learned is it's not done until it's done. Words are cheap. And 1 minute it was never ever going to happen. That came out of the lion's mouth, as in Tyson Fury's mouth. Next minute they've signed a deal. So let's just wait until the deal's been signed before we until we have a date, we have a location. And once that's done, then we can get excited and give it legs. But until then, I've not really got much to say on the matter.
We talked about Tyson Fury. We've got to talk about Anthony Joshua as well. What are the next steps for him now? It looked, although it would be Deontay Wilder, it's seeming, although that's not going ahead. What do you see as the next logical step for him, and do you think there's more to achieve?
Well, I know when they were talking about Deontay Wilder and everybody got excited about the association of the two. I said that to me is not good business. I wouldn't do that. I'd be very surprised if that does happen. It's not happening. It's not happening because of common sense. Common sense said we've got to get Anthony Joshua in a position where when he gets in with Deontay Wilder, which it could still happen eventually, he's the fighter he needs to be. The fighter he needs to be to get him with Deontay Wilder. Now he's not there, so he needs to find himself and own himself. So they've got to pick the right opponent that enhances his reputation, or they pick an opponent where it develops him on again, and they just take the flack that comes with it for not putting him in with a tougher test.
In your opinion, who would be a good opponent for Anthony Joshua's next fight?
People like Hergovich, people like that, there are fights there for him to have, but it's a case of who they're going to pick. What risk do they want to take? Are they looking at the end of the rainbow, thinking, right, we're going to give you a few soft touches here because that's where we want to be? Or are they going to risk that by putting him in with someone really dangerous? And I think business-wise, I think they will not take that risk.
Johnny Nelson, thank you very much for your time. Good man. Good stuff.